Okay, can we start now? Can we start this now? Okay, I feel like I'm finally warmed up. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the RC with Adam podcast. I'm your host, Adam. And it's a fantastic day. It's going to be a great day, first of all. So, just in case you're wondering, it's going to be a great day. And if it's not, you can make it a great day. So, there's that. How you doing today? Good. I can't hear you, so I'm just going to assume you said that you're doing well. But, maybe you're not doing well, because it's okay to not be doing well sometimes. And sometimes we're not doing well. Sometimes I'm not doing well. There have been a lot of times in my life when I'm not doing well. I'm just like, man, I'm not doing well. And I feel for that. Like, I've been there. Today I'm doing pretty well, and I'm thankful for that. But if you're not doing well, I just want you to know you're not alone. And if you feel like a failure, if you feel like giving up, and just kind of that kind of negativity, just remember that, you only really fail when you give up, like when you just stop trying. And it's not, and there are a lot of like, cliches and sayings and whatever, but they're pretty much all true, in the sense that, like, it's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get back up. Something I was thinking about this morning. It says in the Bible that the godly will stumble but will not fall, and that, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, and that the Lord will hold them up as they walk along God's path. That's a paraphrase from the Adam translation. But the point there that really struck with me is, and this is, I'm talking especially to other Christians, other Christ followers, who look to God for help when they're stumbling, is that, there are going to be times when you stumble, because you think about, you're walking down a trail or a path and you stumble. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, that's interesting, because if that were to happen in real life, you might try to like catch yourself, or here's the thing, it says in the Bible that God will not let you fall, right? So that would mean that he's going to like reach out and grab you, or you can reach out and grab him. But what's interesting about that is that if you think about that, like in a literal, logical sense, that means that he has to be there with you. So you need to be, walking on that path, with God. And that's how you will stumble. You will still stumble, but that's how you will not completely fall down on your face. And I was thinking about that, because like if you have kids, it's pretty easy to imagine that, you're walking along and your little tiny child is trying to walk on their own, and then, they start to fall, and or even before that, you probably are like, yeah, they're probably going to fall, so you hold their hand, But there are also times when kids are like, no, I don't need anybody to hold my hand. Like, I'm just going to walk out here. I can do it. And then they go and fall on their face. And that's what happens all the time with us and with God, because we are children to him, which is kind of a complicated thing that we don't need to go into like right now. But I think you get what I'm getting at here. So just be encouraged in that, that if you do feel like you're stumbling, you feel like you're failing, you feel like you're falling down, reach out to God for that help. Look to him for that help, and he will help you. And sometimes also you got to think, okay, well, you got to be real with yourself and be like, why am I failing? Why does it feel like I'm failing? Well, it could be that you're failing because you're trying to do something your own way. That could be it. Again, with that kind of analogy, you imagine that, you're walking down the path, but you leave God behind, and you're like, oh no, I'm just going to go ahead on my own, right? Because I got this. I've walked on a path before. so I'm an expert, right? So then you're falling down because you went away from that source of help and that source of guidance and direction. So anyway, that just stuck out to me today. So I thought somebody might need to hear that, because I know there have been times when I definitely need to hear that. And then also, hey, if you are afraid of stuff, and if you have fears, that's what I'm doing here is I'm facing my fears, because to kind of get up, or be in front of a microphone, in front of a camera, and to say things to people that I don't know, I might sound stupid. People might not care for what I say. People might I don't know, they might not get it. They might think I'm weird or stupid, or they might unsubscribe. Those are all possibilities, but I'm up here and I'm doing it. And so I just want you to know that me talking to you and sharing things and trying to encourage you, and especially to do it on a regular basis and everything, does not come easily. It kind of comes naturally, in the sense of like, I feel like this is like what I need to be doing, but it's definitely not without resistance. And that is, I just hope that, if nothing else, that when you see this podcast is posted, or when you're listening to this podcast, I hope that you are encouraged to fight that resistance as well. That resistance that you feel towards doing something that you know that you need to do, or being the person that you want to be. And also as creatives, a lot of people don't understand that as well. A lot of people don't understand the more artistic type of people, which, and I'm a little bit of everything, actually. So sometimes I feel like I don't fit in anywhere. Maybe you feel kind of the same. Sometimes it's like I'm too much of an engineer for the artists, and I'm too much of an artist for the engineers, and so kind of a jack of all trades in some ways. But anyway, hopefully that encourages you today to, I don't know, to not be afraid of people, to reach out for help, and to maybe take a better look at yourself in terms of if you feel like you're failing, and to persevere, and to persevere, and to keep on going, and to get back up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. So I just wanted to get that out there to you guys. But once again, we're just checking in. I missed Friday's podcast date, so I'm doing this one today on Tuesday. It's a beautiful morning here in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. That's where I currently reside. And really nice weather today. I went out paddling. Fantastic sunrise. Super cool. Right. But anyway, okay. So let's talk, I don't know, drone stuff, RC stuff, 3D printing stuff. And we're just kind of checking in here. So we're just, the lecture, or I don't know if that was a lecture, but that part's we're kind of done with. We're kind of just checking in, hanging out. So, and I put that up front because that's what I hope that, if nothing else, that is what you get from this podcast. But I know that it's fun to hang out as well. So we're going to hang out a little bit. So let's talk about something else that has been on my mind for a while, and it is the subject or the question of are drones, or UAV, or RC aircraft, whatever you want to call them, unmanned aircraft, small unmanned aircraft, SUAS. Gosh, there's so many acronyms, it's crazy. Are they being used in the missions field, kind of quote unquote? So I'm not sure what that would mean to you. I'm not even sure what that would mean in general exactly in terms of the missions field, but I guess in the sense of humanitarian aid, humanitarian efforts to help people, but also with a ministry focus, a a gospel like focus, like the point of teaching people about Christ and that sort of thing, because that's something that I'm interested in. And so that was the question, because the thing is like, and the short answer, the spoiler, there are not many, but we'll talk about that in a second. But it's funny how drones, drones are weird, right? Because on the one hand, they're everywhere, they're ubiquitous. And then on the other hand, people are not using them to their fullest potential, or or people are like hesitant about them, or they don't understand them. And yeah, because it's a complicated thing, the potential of it and how to integrate that with like what we have now and actually start using the technology and stuff, that's, it can all get very complicated. So, but the thing is like we've got, Zipline. That's a company that has been doing humanitarian aid stuff. So their thing is like fixed wing aircraft. They basically they have like these bases. I don't know all about the operation, but I've heard about it and seen about it. They'll have like these bases, I think, in Africa, somewhere in Africa. Sorry, I don't actually know specifically where. And they will, I'm pretty sure they have like the medical, it's like at a medical facility or a place where they will have, they'll have like all of the, medicines and prescriptions and, all the medical aid items. And they will be at a location so that they can get to like multiple hospitals. So what they'll do is basically like package it up, load it onto this fixed wing aircraft, and then launch it. And then it will fly to the hospital, parachute drop a package with the medicine. And then it will fly back to the base, and it's like all autonomous. And so Zipline is a big one that's doing it. Then that's kind of all I can think of. So, and that is like more, that's like humanitarian. And then they're also getting into, I think I saw this at Oshkosh, like they're getting into more, the commercial side, I guess you could say, drone delivery, right? A lot of people hear about drone delivery, Amazon, there's going to be drones everywhere, or, whatever, UPS is doing drones. And, so that is like, that's a thing, and it is happening in some places. And so that's kind of the funny thing is we know absolutely that drones can be used to deliver critical aid items, typically small and typically, fairly lightweight. But so that's being used, but I don't think there are that many companies. And if you know of companies, please leave a comment down below, because that's part of the question is I'm trying to figure out what this landscape looks like. So when I was at Oshkosh Air Venture up in Wisconsin this past July, one of the things I did is I stopped by the Mission Aviation area. So the big one is JARS, Jungle Aviation. I think now it's Relay Service. So JARS is a big one, and then Mission Aviation Fellowship, that's another big one. And then there was like a tent with a bunch of different booths of these different mission organizations. And so I went up to everybody and I asked them, do drones even have a place, or could you see a use for them in the missions field, in what, to integrate with what they're doing, or to potentially replace practices that are going on right now. And pretty much everybody was like, yeah, they were like really hesitant. They were like, oh yeah, well, and then they'd kind of like point to somebody else, or they'd be like, oh, well, or they'd say, oh yeah, that would definitely be a lot of potential, or that'd be cool or something. And then some people more like I think it was Mission Aviation Fellowship and others, I don't remember all of them. It was kind of more like that's definitely a thing that some people are doing, but we're not really doing it, and we're not really interested in doing it because it doesn't really fit into what they're doing, or like it'd be too difficult to integrate it. And I'm paraphrasing and I'm not going to share like the exact information that I got from speaking with some of these different organizations. But that was basically the sense I got, and I was like, that's weird. That is not the case. And so, and the thing is I was asking all these different organizations, what I wanted to know first of all was like, is there even a use for it? Because I like drones. I like this stuff. So of course I could find a use for it, but I'm not out there in the field and doing stuff that they're doing every day. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just biased in thinking like, well, that's weird. Like these people are so dumb because they're not using drones. Like, obviously they should be using drones and they're not, so they're stupid. So I didn't want to, I wanted to make sure I wasn't doing that. So that's why I wanted to ask, first of all, like, is this even a thing that would be useful? And it seemed like most people either hadn't thought about it, or they like were not interested, or were hesitant, or something like that. And that's interesting. And so what I kind of realized after all of that was that most of the mission aviation, services or organizations, ministries, whatever you want to call them, like JARS and MAF, especially the like two big ones, they're basically like a jungle backwoods version of like a commercial, air transport service. Dang, I had the right word a second ago and I forgot it. And it's just like it's basically like an airline. So it's not. It's what am I trying to say here? I guess I realized that it's a pretty old school way of doing things. Is kind of how all of it is. Now, it is necessary. Don't get me wrong. Like, it is absolutely, you need to be able to carry people in and out. And right now, there are not any options, at least in use, where you could, send in a drone to carry somebody out. Although I think that would be a fantastic idea. Also, another thought that I had was it would be great if you could have like a one-person semi-autonomous drone. It's not a drone. It's an aircraft, but it's now the lines are really blurred between like drones and aircraft. But the idea is you would have it piloted by somebody, or could be piloted by somebody to come in, and then they arrive, at this village or whatever, and then they need to get like one sick person out of there. So then they would load them in the drone, and then you would be able to autonomously send the drone back to the base, essentially. Now, obviously there's, that's way higher risk once you put a living thing and a living person inside the drone. So that's, that would need to get worked out. You know what I mean? But anyway, so that was interesting. And so I was a little like, I was kind of surprised a little bit, a little disheartened as well. The JARS people, so they said like, yeah, they do kind of, a lot of people pointed to JARS as like, oh, I think JARS is doing something, or they might be interested in doing something. So it sounds like JARS, is more innovative, I'm fancy, than other organizations, like such as, MAF, Mission Aviation Fellowship. And so I did reach out to JARS, and they said that they are experimenting with like some different things. I'm not going to say what exactly. I don't know if they would want me to be sharing that. So, but it's on their radar, but not like a high priority, and then another person pointed me to Orb. There's a company called Orb, and that's really cool. They got some really cool stuff. They have a lot of stuff on their YouTube channel. Their thing is, their thing is like spreading air mobility like everywhere. Like they want to try and develop these vehicles and this whole like system so that everybody would have access to air mobility in the form of like electric VTOL multi-rotor type system. So that's cool, but they're like several years out. They're just like in the very early stages, and their thing is transporting people as well. I'm pretty sure that was their goal. And so what their thing is like, they want to do, what did they say they want to do for aircraft or for air mobility, what the internet did for information or something like that. So basically make it much more accessible, which is super cool. And I'd love to like, I don't know, somehow get on board with that, because that's really cool. I'd love to support that. So you can check that out. Orb, ORB, Oscar Ramiro Varian. And then another one that some people pointed to was iTech. iTech, that's ITEC. And iTech, after looking at them, they seem pretty cool. They seem pretty cool because they are, as far as I can tell, they're the only organization that is actually using drones right now, unmanned aerial vehicles, to deliver, goods in like on the quote unquote mission field. So which is, different from a lot of, well, that's why I say that they're the only, as far as I can tell. And actually what's cool about iTech is, because I learned about them and stuff and watched like some of the videos and kind of got their like philosophy and everything. And the kind of like how they operate. And so what's cool about them is their thing is they're really about like training people and equipping people, like the indigenous people, which is funny because that seems like such a, I don't know, that's such a foreign sounding word, but just the people who live at the place where you're going to, so their thing is like basically equipping those people, like the locals, and teaching them and training them to be self-sufficient in a sense, or be able to operate a drone delivery system. And they also do stuff with dental and eye, like optometry type of stuff. So helping people to see and be able to eat food and without pain, which I think that's fantastic as well. And they are, a Christian organization. So that is part of it, is spreading the gospel of Christ through those, tangible efforts. So that was really cool. So I did, I was able to talk with them, quite a bit and kind of learn a bit more about what they have going on. And like you read it on their website. They recently got approval to operate in Colombia. I think I have that right. And apparently that was very difficult to get the Colombian government or the Colombian version of the FAA on board with that. And that is unfortunate. Like that is it's such a bummer to me how regulation is like one of the most difficult parts. And man, it's such a bummer. If I think about it too much, I'll just get super bummed out. So I just, you gotta regulate, you gotta regulate, you gotta regulate how much you think about regulations and stuff. Cause, really it's basically, reading a list of like, you can't do this, you can't do that, which is like a super, what a bummer list, right? But obviously, blah, 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 for anybody out there who's like, well, you can't just have people running around doing whatever they want. No, that's true. So some regulation is good, of course. It just usually takes the fun out of a lot of things. But anyway, I think you get what I'm saying there. So the point of all that is to just kind of share what I have learned about, if drones are being used or even looked at in, mission missions aviation. I don't know. It's kind of a weird phrase when I say it a bunch. And then also, and just kind of, so kind of what I found, and then, and what I have found is that it seems like the one that's actually doing it right now is iTech. And they're based down in Florida, but then they go out to, like, obviously different countries. Africa's not a country, I know. But they go to places in Africa, places in Colombia, other places. And so that's really cool. And I think that's super cool. And so I'm, I definitely, oh, and if you know of others, again, please leave a comment down below. If you know of other organizations, because I'm interested in learning about these organizations, just from kind of a curiosity perspective, but also I would love to be able to support these organizations, and offer my help, and what however I can help with the expertise that I have, kind of on the subject of drones and UAV and stuff like that. So that is something that is interesting to me, and it might be interesting to you as well, which is why I thought I would, bring it up, because it does relate to drones and stuff. Yes, I think, so there you go. Boom, leave a comment. That's it for that. In other news, let's talk about 3D printed airplanes. So I finished that 3D printed airplane, the Crackle Cub, that I've been working on. I finally got to test it out, and it didn't go super great. It was pretty much a total failure. This part was dumb. This was my fault. I tried to do a ground takeoff, which, like, I should have known. I kind of did know that, like, it probably wasn't going to work. And my thinking was kind of like, well, maybe if it doesn't work, then it won't get damaged as much as me throwing it. Okay. But not really. The landing gear got ripped off. It flipped over. Somehow the rudder popped out, like it came out, which I was kind of surprised about that. And then a chunk of the elevator came off, and I was like, oh man, what a bummer. So then I tried to throw it again after kind of fixing it, and it just immediately, like, stalled and spiraled, and then things broke. And so I'm a little sad, of course, but I'm not devastated. Don't get devastated about those things, but that is definitely something where you're like, dang, it's hard to not just give up on it. That's one of those things. It's hard to not just be like, 3D printed planes are dumb. But when you have an experience like that, it definitely kind of makes you want to do that. But I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to, fix it or print a new one or something, to get some good results here. Cause I still love the idea of 3D printed planes, and really overall assembling it, working with the CA glue, the essentially crazy glue. That was a fine experience. It went together really nicely. The most annoying part is, like, messing with the servos and, kind of like the finishing part, right? That's always the worst part, the finishing part. But I'm gonna get back at it. And then also, what I'm gonna do actually today, I'm going to start testing some filament from 3D Lab Print. I can't remember if I mentioned this or not. It has been a minute. But Lee at Windcatcher RC sent me 3 spools of the 3D Lab Print filament to test out. So one of them is the essentially standard PLA. They call it airplane grade, but I think that's just words. And then they have their expanding or lightweight foaming PLA. And the idea with that is it actually expands and foams up at certain temperatures. Or I guess you could say the higher the temperature, the more it foams up. So the idea is you print it at the right temperature and it foams up just the right amount. So it increases the volume, and then that makes it so that you can use less filament per model, essentially. So you're basically able to essentially have it more lightweight. That's the idea. That's the whole point of it. And then also a little spool of this foaming, I think they call it foaming rubber. It's like lightweight foaming rubber. So kind of like TPU, but not quite, but foaming. So it should be nice and squishy and soft and flexible once it is foamed, which would be great for like wheels or maybe nose cones and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that. Going to be testing that out today and kind of seeing how that goes. And then, gosh, what else have we been working on? I've been working on some different designs for the bat. So I don't know if you've made it this far, if you've listened this far, congratulations, you've earned a gold star cookie. But I don't have any of those, though, so I can't actually give you one. But imagine that I gave you one, and you're welcome. Thank you for listening this far. If you are a true blue, diehard, staying with the long haul, true believer of RC with Adam, then you may remember the bat. The bat. That's the backyard airplane trainer. That was like my best designed plane, which is funny because it's also like my first plane design. That I'm working on building that one, and I'm going to be re-envisioning it, I think you could say, and hopefully making it more accessible. I'm not going to go into the details, but making that more accessible, and also I do want to improve the plans on that as well. And yeah, so I'm building another version to like test out and do some things with that. So hopefully some exciting stuff coming with that. I think so. What else do we have going on? I think I'm blanking out. What do you have going on? That's what I want to know. What kind of cool projects are you working on? And I know I can't hear you, but just tell me anyway. Just say it. Oh, no way. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's really cool. Well, I hope you stick with that and you keep working on that. I hope that works out well for you as well. I was going to see, like, what else do I have coming? I don't know. We've got some different stuff coming up. I don't want to take too long here on this video because I actually do need to get to actually the stuff, so that way I can do the stuff and make more videos and have some more stuff for you. So we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and just remember to keep on keeping on. Take things one day at a time, okay? And wherever you are, you're not alone in whatever it is. You might think that you are, and there's somebody out there who wants you to believe that you are all alone or that you are a failure or something like that, but you are not. You are not. All right, that's going to do it, everybody. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you again very soon.